My hair has gotten long since I last recorded a video. But hey guys, what's up? This is Noah here, and if you're an amateur gardener, which I'm sure many of you watching, if anyone's watching of course, are, like me, not an amateur, but you know, I'm a gardener, you may not realize that stuff you're growing might have flowers that need to, you know, come together to make the food that you want to grow, especially with fruits. Now, what you may not realize is that flowers, like animals, also have genders, and you need to be able to distinguish those flower genders from each other in order to make the food that you want to grow. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to distinguish between a male and a female flower. So let's hop into the garden. So here we are in my garden. It's really kind of like, it's kind of weedy because, you know, it's been raining a lot and it's warmer where I live, so the weeds have kind of been coming out. I need to do some weeding, but just to pretend the weeds aren't there. We're gonna start with male flowers, and I'm going to be doing these on squash plants because I have a lot of those flowers and I have a lot of squash plants. So we're gonna start with the male flowers because male flowers actually far outnumber female flowers in terms of quantity. So you'll see in this bed here, there's corn here, and there's there's two huge like pumpkin vines here. So basically, male flowers, you'll see, this is a pumpkin flower. This hasn't opened yet. You'll see that they have like this tiny little nub on their bottoms, and that's really it. They're just connected to the root of the plant by this stem here, and when they open, you can see, I'll put a picture on screen here because it's not open yet, but when it opens, you'll see that there's like a center with a bunch of grains on it. The grains in the center of the flower are actually pollen. So now I've shown you that, I'm gonna move over to the female flower. So this right here is a butternut squash. It's not a pumpkin. Just get rid of that weed and this weed too. It's really in the way. This is a butternut squash plant. It's not a pumpkin, but they are in the same family. This is actually the first flower I've gotten on this butternut squash plant, and you can see that it's a female flower. You can tell it's a female flower because it has this little like ball under the flower that's connected to the stem. And if you compare that to a male flower, you'll see that that bulb is absent. This is the defining feature of a female flower. This bulb right here is actually the fruit. And when you take the pollen from a male flower and you put it into the female flower's center, that is what makes the fruit. So yeah, you can see that that's that bulb, that's the fruit. So you'll take the pollen from the male flower, and you can't do this with this plant because this is a squash, that's a pumpkin. They're both squash, but anyways, yeah, if you did that with two plants of the same species, you would get a fruit. So this here is a cantaloupe plant. It just started flowering the other day. You can see there's a bunch of flowers here, that flower buds, and even some, you know, like fully bloomed flowers that have come out. But I don't actually have a female flower on the cantaloupe yet, but it's very much the same with melons as it is with squashes. You see, this is a male flower. You can tell because it has that little stem right there under the flower. Female flowers don't have that little stem. As you remember, they have the bulb, and that's how you tell it's a female flower. So with a melon flower, you do very much the same thing to pollinate. You would take a male flower and then you'd rub it inside the female flower, and that is how you get a cantaloupe. Sorry, my finger's in the way there. I also have a bunch of tiny little cantaloupe seedlings over here, but this is my main big one. This is one that's doing real well, so yeah. Now, one exception to this is actually berry flowers. You can see here, this is a strawberry flower. I've actually made a video on how to pollinate strawberries. I have a strawberry here, actually. It's doing real good. I have a couple more, but this here's a strawberry flower. Berry flowers are very different because this also applies to things like peach flowers and stuff, and grape flowers as well, because they're berries. peach flowers actually have both female and male parts inside the same flower. So you'll see there, that center, that's what you want to pollinate. And those grains, let me zoom in there. These grains here on the outside of the flower, those are pollen grains. So you can literally just, you know, use your finger and brush. Gotta get my camera to focus. You can just brush the pollen onto the nucleus of the flower, and that will actually pollinate the flower, and you'll have strawberries. So there you have it. That's how you distinguish the difference between a male and female flower. If this helped you, I'm glad that I could help. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.